I know I repeat myself in these videos, and that is partly my obsession to get closer to truth. I didn't say closer to the truth. I said closer to truth. And over the years, I've shared with you why I think that you, the real you, is the creator of both mind and matter and everything that we call the human universe. So I'm going to reflect on that with you, and I thank you for your indulgence, because I know this might sound repetitious, but perhaps sometimes saying the same thing from various perspectives brings clarity to me anyway. And when I share it with you, it forces my thinking to be even clearer. And of course, your feedback helps me a lot. So today, I want to share with you once again how you, the real you, that is not limited to the confines of body and mind, how that real you creates mind, matter, and the appearance of what we call the physical universe. So let's start with the argument first that what we call matter is a human construct. And it's a name given to a combination of perceptual activities. And let's start with that. The assertion that matter is a human construct, that what we understand as matter is fundamentally shaped by our perceptual activities, cognitive frameworks, and linguistic conventions. That's also something that has fascinated me, because in almost every religious text, it is said that first there was the Word, and the Word was made into flesh, and the Word was with God, the ineffable, um, um, infinite, limitless consciousness. So this perspective, of course, aligns with various philosophical viewpoints, particularly those rooted in constructivism and phenomenology. So here I outline several key points to support this argument. First, perceptual limitations. Human perception is inherently limited to our senses. Our senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, filter and interpret the vast array of stimuli that we call the environment, although those are modifications of consciousness, another story. But in any case, even according to the current scientific models, we perceive matter through the interaction of photons with our eyes, which is only a fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. The qualities we attribute to matter, such as color, texture, and solidity, are thus products of our sensory experiences rather than intrinsic properties of the material world. So that's first, perceptual limitations. Second, cognitive frameworks. As humans, we categorize and conceptualize our experiences to make sense of the world. The concept of matter is rooted in these cognitive frameworks. Scientific advancements have revealed that what we consider matter, atoms, molecules, and subatomic particles, behave in ways that challenge our traditional notions. Quantum mechanics, for instance, suggests that particles can exist in states that defy classical definitions of matter, indicating that our current understanding is not absolute, but rather a construct shaped by our theoretical models. Then there's something called linguistic relativity. Language plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of reality. The term matter itself is a linguistic construct that encapsulates a wide range of phenomena. Different cultures and languages have varying terms and concepts related to matter, suggesting that our understanding of what constitutes matter is not universal, but rather culturally and linguistically determined. This aligns with what people have suggested in the past, and I have shared with you also previously, that language influences thought and perception. Philosophers such as Immanuel Kant have argued that our knowledge of the world is mediated by our mental faculties. According to Kant, who's always been one of my favorite philosophers, we cannot know things as they are in themselves, the noumena, but only as they appear to us through our senses and cognitive structures, the phenomena. This suggests that our understanding of matter is not an objective reality, but a subjective interpretation influenced by human cognition. Modern science, particularly physics, challenges traditional notions of matter. Concepts such as wave particle duality and the uncertainty principle indicate that matter does not have a fixed objective nature. Instead, it exists in a state that is contingent upon observations and interactions. And then, of course, who's the observer, which we have tackled before. It's not the body-mind either. The observer is also capable of observing the body-mind. This further supports the idea that matter is a construct shaped by human inquiry and understanding rather than an inherent quality of the universe. Okay, so now that we have argued that matter is a mental construct, let's go a little further and understand that mental constructs are modifications of limitless consciousness. Consciousness knowing itself as sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, and calling it mind. So, building upon the argument that matter is a mental construct, we can indeed explore the perspective that mind or mental constructs are modifications of limitless, infinite consciousness. This view aligns with many philosophical and spiritual traditions, particularly those found in Eastern philosophies such as Advaita Vedanta and certain schools of Buddhism. So let's elaborate on this concept. Number one, consciousness as the primordial substrate. In this framework, consciousness is posited as the fundamental reality from which all experience and perceptions arise. It is not limited by time, space, or form, hence described as limitless. This consciousness is often referred to as pure awareness, the absolute or non-dual reality. Fundamental, shapeless, formless, irreducible, infinite, incomprehensible, unimaginable. So, mind is a modification of this consciousness. The mind in this context can be understood as a localized expression or modification of this universal consciousness. It is the interface through which limitless consciousness experiences itself in limited forms. The mind, with its thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, is like the waves on the ocean of consciousness, distinct in appearance, but not separate in essence. So, all this is the process of self-knowing. Consciousness, in its play of self-knowing, manifests as various mental phenomena, sensations, the raw data of experience such as sight, sound, taste, smell, etc. Then images, mental representations or visualizations of sensory experiences or abstract concepts. Feelings, emotional responses, and states that color our experiences. And thoughts, conceptual processes, ideas, and cognitive activities. These manifestations are the ways in which consciousness knows itself in form and limitation. And what we call mind is essentially consciousness identifying with these modifications, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. This identification creates the illusion of a separate self or an individual mind. However, from this perspective, there is only one consciousness playing all the roles. Interestingly, this view finds some parallels in interpretations of quantum physics. The observer effect in quantum mechanics suggests that consciousness plays a role in collapsing wave functions into definite states. This has led some theorists to propose that consciousness might be fundamental and the ground state of the universe rather than an emergent property of matter. So this has huge implications for understanding reality. If we accept the argument I propose, it radically shifts our understanding of reality. First, there's unity of experience. All experiences, whether deemed physical or mental, are ultimately modifications of the one consciousness. Non-duality. By the way, that one conscious can be called Brahman or God or divine or Ein Sof or the it from which the bit arises, etc. So this, of course, goes to the heart of non-duality, which says that the apparent duality between subject and object, observer and observed, self and other, dissolves into a unified field of awareness. And when we see this, we recognize that the individual mind is seen as a temporary focusing of infinite consciousness capable of transcending its apparent limitations. This has practical implications, such as in the fields of psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, and spirituality. In psychology, it offers new approaches to understanding and treating mental health issues. In neuroscience, it provides a framework for investigating the relationship between consciousness and brain activity. In philosophy, it challenges traditional Western concepts of mind, matter, and reality. And in spirituality, it allows us to align with and potentially validate certain mystical and contemplative traditions. So, as a result of my daily practices, now it's almost impossible for me to be convinced that matter has inherent reality or even mind has inherent reality. And viewing mind and mental constructs as modifications of limitless consciousness offers ultimately a holistic framework for understanding reality. It suggests that the diversity of human experiences, from the seemingly solid matter to the most abstract thoughts, is ultimately a play of consciousness knowing itself. This perspective invites you to reconsider your fundamental nature and the nature of the reality you perceive. It could potentially lead to profound shifts in how you understand yourself and the world around you, and actually give you the true meaning of the understanding that you are that divine self that is experiencing itself as all these modes of knowing and all these modes of knowing resulting in different experiences of both knower and known. If you want to continue this conversation with me, you can also engage with my digital twin, digitaldeepak.ai. And thank you once again for participating in this conversation with me and giving me your feedback.